Okay, hey friends, my name is Sunan Sharma. I'm an agile consultant based in Den Haag in Netherlands, and today I'm super excited because first time someone joining us from Google. So friends, today we have Karthik Reddy with us. He's a technical program manager in Google based in Phoenix, United States. And friends, before we start our session with Karthik, if you are new and watching this video first time, please browse our channel, and if you find something interesting or value, please do subscribe for more similar videos in future, and don't forget to hit like button. Your one like is a big motivation for us. So let's get started. So Karthik, welcome, and it's such an honor to have you today with us. And welcome and thank you for your time. I'm pretty sure that a lot of people will learn from your experience today. So why don't you tell us about your journey from India to USA and finally to Google, Karthik? Welcome.
Sure. Thanks for the intro, Sunanda, and I'm very excited, and it's an honor to share my experience. I don't know how exciting it'll be, but it'll be real time, and hopefully, at least some souls will be inspired, and they'll make it big. So, with that said, quick background: I did my bachelor's from 2000 to 2004. I'm from Hyderabad, AP, Telangana, whatever you want to call it. So after my bachelor's, I straight away headed. I landed in US for my master's. I did my master's in computer science from University of Illinois Springfield, and I took my sweet time, spending time at college with my friends. So I walked out in 2007. I graduated in 2007. So I took my good sweet time there. But the good thing was part of it to do with my assistantship as well. So they were paying my fees and stuff. So I just relaxed a bit, I guess. I was not so serious about career at that point of time. But anyway, walked out 2007. I started my first job with Western Union in New Jersey as a consultant contractor. I spent a good year there. Started as a business systems analyst, junior entry level, obviously. And then after an year or so, I got an opportunity. I learned about this Oracle upgrade that was happening, ERP system, and I went spoke to the delivery manager, and I showed interest. The good thing was that they knew me from my work, and even though I did not have the technique, I mean, experience like coding and stuff, they interviewed me. Theoretically, I was okay, so I was picked up for that job. But the only caveat was it was a remote job because the team was all around the globe, and there was no location for me. So it was exciting. Early in your career, remote job sounds, geeky. You can travel, all that good stuff. So I took up. So I spent a good 3 years there. But 2000, 2007, 2008, the recession hit. Everything was going downhill. So maybe that was a blessing in disguise for me, because I was an entry level guy. They were not paying me hundreds, so they kept me, but I had to wear multiple hats, and that was good learning for me. I was a business analyst. I was a project manager. So I was gathering requirements. I was driving everything from schedule, scope, resourcing, everything. I was managing some of the tools, and I was also coding. I was the lone production support guy here in the US during onshore hours. So that was good. I learned a lot of stuff there. So stayed there for 3 years. But working from home was taking toll over me, because I was not able to spend time with experts. I was not doing enough, I thought. So I had to move to Phoenix, Arizona for family reasons. And I got an opportunity to interview with American Express, and I readily accepted. Amex is a very well-known name. So I got selected. I was the lead BSA for one of the programs, first of its kind, frankly speaking. So I spent a good one plus years there as a contractor, but eventually I wanted to turn full time, and then came the biggest break, I would say, because I joined US Airways, the fifth largest airlines in US. It's not the world's, but US. And fly for free across the globe. Sounds interesting. I took up the job. I started as a BSA there again. Then within a year, I was promoted lead BSA. Then after an year or so, we merged with American Airlines to form the biggest airline in the world. And I converted to a project manager. And I So overall, I spent like close to 8.5 years with American Airlines, US Airways / American Airlines, until COVID hit, I guess. So round about when COVID hit, I was getting stagnant. I felt that because I was being promoted from roles and responsible standpoint, but the career ladder wise, the title wise, I felt it was stagnant. It was time to move on. So luckily, I ended up with SVB, Silicon Valley Bank. It's one of the banks, financial institutes, but it's a different kind. They lend to a lot of startups and stuff. So it's a different. It's not consumer banking. They have small portion, but mostly it's to do with startups and stuff. It was very fascinating journey. I started with them in June of 2020, and yeah, it was an amazing organization. If not for Google, I would not have left SVB, frankly speaking. And I was the technical program manager for uh, architecture, enterprise architecture. I was supporting the city organization, so it was amazing. I had to work with Microsoft suite of applications, and I did a lot of automation using Power Builder, all that good stuff. Power Automate, sorry. So flows, all, but it was short. Then Google opportunity came. So one thing with Google opportunity, it takes a while, so you have to be very patient. You can't rush. So then came the opportunity, and I grabbed it. I worked hard, and eventually I landed. I started with them late 2020. So next month it'll be my first anniversary. I'm very excited, and I am thankful for the opportunity, and I can't say enough. I'm just blessed. So that's my journey in a nutshell. But as we go along, I'll talk about what I did to work on different things, and what kind of certification, all that good
Sure,
stuff.
sure. Definitely, definitely. We'll get to know a lot of things about you. So
Sure
first
thing.
of all, thanks. I would say it's an incredible journey. Friends, whatever I have seen so far, whatever Karthik told me and to all, I mean, anyone can do that. That's what I was just, it's a take note from me, right? The way he started initially, if you can see, he's not that much serious, but then when he take the charge of his career, and this is what I think youngsters can do, right? Nowadays sometimes people are not more focused toward their goal, but then once you are focused, you can achieve anything. I mean, sky is the limit for us. So that's a keynote for me, Karthik, from whatever you told me. And friends, anyone can be in Google. Karthik is our live example in front of us. I've seen a lot of people who are still very fascinated, okay, I cannot make it to Microsoft or to Google or to Facebook. But nowadays, if you have that will of, obviously the opportunity should be there, but then keep on trying. That's the keynote for me, Karthik. So with this, thanks, and let's get started with the Google interview process. How's your experience? And as you mentioned, it take a lot of time. So why don't you share each and everything? How you apply from you, where we apply, because still people are a lot of confused, like whether Google posts their job on websites or on their own career section or with your referrals or a lot of things. So Karthik, please help us with the interview process for
Absolutely.
Google.
Absolutely. And before we get into the actual end-to-end process of the Google interview, I just want to share something, right? As I said, I've been through American, I've been through SVB, but one thing I have learned over the course is I have applied to a lot of jobs. Like I was desperate at one point, frankly speaking, during my 2018-19 period. I was desperate. I started applying for a lot of jobs, and Google was not one of them, just so you know. And I had a LinkedIn profile. I thought people should be able to go through everything, and they should be able to reach me because I know what I'm doing. My assumption was when people go through my long 4 or 5 page or whatever that LinkedIn profile, they should learn what I'm doing. But the thing is, people have to realize that they don't know me personally. I don't know you personally. Your LinkedIn social media profile these days, especially when you talk about careers, LinkedIn is your gateway. So I request and suggest everybody that make it look visible, use keywords, whatever you're trying to. You don't have to write paras or essays. All you have to do is use the right verbiage, make it visible, because that's your gateway, that's your big ticket. Once your LinkedIn catches eye, then the process kicks off. If you're not able to get the hits, from the recruiters, and obviously you're missing out on big things. So keep that in mind. So I have to thank my better half, my wife, best half, I should say. She was the one who reviewed it. She's also into IT program management, just so you know, and she helped me a great deal. So maybe I was not too serious. She helped me with updating my profile, reviewing. She's my biggest critic. So thanks to her. And once she did, frankly, I did not apply for any Google job. I was approached by a Google recruiter, and they said, "Hey, would you like to? Are you interested?" That was the very first question. Obviously, Google is a dream company for anybody. That was like I was shell shocked. Not in a million years I would have thought about working for Google, but I'm now talking to a recruiter. So the process starts off with your LinkedIn profile. Obviously, I did not apply, so they reached out to me. We exchanged messages and we set up a time. So the very first call is 30 to 45 minutes call with the recruiter. She calls us. She'll just talk about your profile. She'll go through your profile, regular questions. She's not drilling you anything, or he or she for that matter. They'll just want to understand, get a feel of what you want to be, why you want to switch to a job. Because obviously I started with SVB and it's less than 6 months, and the question came was, why you want to switch SVB? You're a full-time employee there. Obviously my question was, Google is a dream company for many, and I want to grab it. It's nothing wrong with SVB. So one thing to note here is never use negative words or point fingers at your
Criticize
current
or something.
employer
Yeah.
or anything. So just make sure that you are very positive in your, show your excitement to join Google, not to leave one company. Okay. So show your excitement to join Google. So it was a very good call. It was casual talk. And the best part is they'll make you very comfortable. It was not like, okay, she or he calls me and say, tell me about yourself. What technologies do you know? It's not like that. It's like two friends talking, trying to get to know each other. So it was amazing. The first call went through, and then I was informed that they will be moving forward. So they walked me through the next step, which is a 45-minute technical call or technical round, they say it, with one of the program managers. And we don't know who that is. They won't be sharing details because Google is such a huge system. Anybody can be calling you. So that's one. And then they'll set a time, they'll ask you for time. And the best part is, this is where you start feeling very comfortable. Google is such an amazing employer. They came back during COVID days. I know everybody was working from home, but the request came back like, hey, Karthik, are you available? What's your availability? I said, these are my available dates. Then they came back to clarify something, say that, hey, Karthik, you know what? If you want to do it after hours, because we know you're already employed, absolutely fine with us. That was going above and beyond, as you can see. They wanted, somebody is willing to go above and beyond to interview me after hours. Meant a lot, showed a lot to me. I said, absolutely. So 45 minutes call was set up. Then the 45 minutes call, normally you will be talking to a technical person, a technical somebody belonging to a technical organization. And it can be a program manager, it can be a developer, it can be anybody, whoever. We don't know. You won't get to see the person's profile, so that you're prepared. But this will be, obviously, when you're applying for something like a technical program manager. Obviously technology is a big thing, and we are talking about the biggest technical giant. So it was kind of technical, and I'll just shed out some light what kind of questions you might be asked in the 45 minutes thing. So obviously this is your first interaction, they learning your skill set and you learning about the kind of roles and responsibilities. So quick example, they might ask you to, hey, can you design Twitter for me? Okay. Can you come up with a design for Netflix? Can you come up with a COVID tracking app? So I want to take a pause here and explain my learnings. One of the things, a lot of interviewing candidates, especially when you're interviewing for somebody like Google, Amazon, whatever fan companies, your dream companies, right? You are excited, you have butterflies in your belly. Everybody does. I'm sure even our CEO had those when he interviewed. So anybody, for that matter, it's human nature. So first, do not try to answer the question from the word said go. As soon as the interviewer ends his question, don't try to answer it. You are more, it's a mature conversation between two professionals. So the biggest advice is, you, if the question is pretty clear, if you are in that domain, yes, absolutely, you have that domain, absolutely, go ahead and answer it. If they asked me something about airlines, I would have jumped right into the answer. But it's a good process to take a pause, gather your thoughts, and make sure that when you start the interview, as the interview, or that, hey, may I use pen and pencil or whatever, because it's easier to jot down notes and gather your thoughts. And it's not disrespectful not to look at the camera because you already mentioned it to the interviewer. That shows that you're being serious. You're not trying to answer you're not trying to pluck answers from thin air. So make sure you take that pause, 30 seconds. Don't make it a 2-3 minute pause. It will be awkward silence. The 30 seconds, 1 minute should be good enough. But do communicate that to the interviewer that, hey, you mind if I just gather my thoughts, jot down some notes, and then give you an answer? And remember that they are not looking for an answer. It's just not Google, any big company. They are trying to see how you navigate your path, because we know Twitter is already defined, Netflix is already defined. There is less from designing perspective, frankly speaking. But if they ask you like a COVID tracking tracing app, that's a new thing, right? At this point, do not assume things. Do not think that COVID tracing app is like to track how many people got COVID in Netherlands or Phoenix. It might be totally different from interview standpoint. So the more clarifying questions you ask, the better for you. So it shows that you are just not trying to answer the question, but you're trying to understand the problem. And one key takeaway I would share is, always start with the why. So start with the, hey, we already have Twitter. You're talking about Twitter again. So are you talking about a different version of it? Think through that. So it's not at all demeaning, or it's not disrespectful to ask that question. You are trying to understand the why, so that you are able to define what you want to do, and the how part is the later part. So why, what, and how are the key things. So ask clarifying questions, and it doesn't have to be like you just have to restrict to 1 or 2 questions. It's like, Sunan wants me to come up with a car. I'd like to understand, is it a sports car? Is it a stick shift? Is it These are all valid questions. It might seem like you're not answering. You are absolutely, because every question you are answering is getting you closer to that answer. So maybe spend 3-4 minutes talking about clarifying questions, and at some point you need to stop, because designing Twitter in a 45 minute absolutely not possible. So what you need to do is you stop at some point, just clarify that these are the assumptions I'm making, this is phase one, I'm trying to design this one, and share your answers. This is how we are. So like, hey, you have a UI, you have a backend, you're talking about millions of users. You always talk about the success criteria. What is the success criteria, right? Coming up with a Twitter web page is as easy as 5 minutes thing, but there's a lot of processing goes behind, right? Make sure you understand the success criteria. So when you touch on all these components, right, front end, back end, middleware, databases, it shows that, hey, you understand the overall picture. Now, your focus is not to develop the end-to-end picture as a TPM, frankly speaking. Your main role, core responsibility is to make sure everybody is following that track to get to the end goal. It's like herding cattle. So that is the big thing. So show some process. How do you deal with it? How do you start off, kick off, make assumptions, talk about how you manage stakeholder communication, so you define roles and responsibilities, all that good stuff, raid matrix if that's needed. So talk about the things that are very core to your. Don't get into the details like, hey, I want Cassandra, or I want to use dot. Do not marry yourself to a technology. That is going to show that you are restricting yourself. And I think you're on mute. So that's one thing. So here's the thing. I feel personally, asking the right question is the biggest thing. Not talking about technology until it's required is a asset, because you should be very flexible, especially in an organization like Google. They don't shy away from using different technologies, even if it's from a competitor. They're absolutely, because it's all about delivering value to the end user, right? So that, keep your mind open, never get into the technicalities and try to go back and forth why you are saying NoSQL versus SQL database. Absolutely, you can give them a reason why you want to go with NoSQL for a thing like Twitter, because it's not structured. But you do not want to get into the technicalities. Don't just so what happens is you go on a tangent and you lose the purpose. They are not able to get all the information squeezed out of you. So that's the 45-minute thing. Normally what they do is 35 minutes. First 5 minutes you just ask the clarifying questions, then you start explaining, and then you make sure that on your way, do not keep explaining them everything. Take a pause, you talk about front end, give them give a pause and make sure that, hey, this is what I'm assuming when I'm talking about this UI. Now let's talk about backend, let's talk about hosting it in cloud, load balancing, whatever it is. Take pauses at regular intervals, make sure that the interviewer is following and you're giving them an opportunity to talk. That shows that you're a good listener. It's just not that you're going on and on and on. It's not about how much you talk, it's about what kind of discussion you both are having. Is it involving both the parties? It's not a one-way street. Make sure it's a two-way street. And 35 minutes, that's about it. After that, you will be given a chance to ask questions. And a lot of times, even I did this mistake. I'm excited, obviously, to join a company like Google, but do not ask, hey, what are the next steps? When would I hear back from you? You are talking, they are spending their valuable time to us with us so that they want to onboard us. Obviously, they are in a hurry, but they cannot predict it. Things, it takes long. It can be 1 week, it can be 6 months or 12 months, being very honest. So don't ask regular stereotype questions. I would say when you're preparing for an interview, make sure that you ask intriguing questions like, it's your last opportunity to leave a mark on the interviewer. It's like a closing bang, climax in a movie, right? So make sure the question is interesting. Okay, it doesn't have to be about technology, it can be around role. So you can just ask what it's like working for a company like Google, Fang, whatever, and what happened to the previous person who was in this role. You're trying to understand whether it's a new org, old org, what happened to the person. And when you hear something like they have been promoted, it shows that there are growth opportunities. You need to learn something out of your last question. So that's what the initial 45 minutes conversation is. So that was the end of it. Within a week, you should be hearing back from the recruiter, and they come back and say that, hey, you got through it. And very rare occasions, if the interviewer thinks that, hey, there are levels in every organization, obviously, and this happened to me and a couple of my friends. If they think that we are above certain role, or they think that whatever we are interviewing you, we are below certain role, below is okay because they have already interviewed. We are already been through that interview. But if they think we might be suitable for upper level, they might come back and say that, hey, you know what, would you mind taking one more 45 minutes interview? So it's a positive sign because you are one step closer. So that happened to me, obviously. And then once you get through the first and optional second 45-minute interview, now the big part, then you hear back from your recruiter. She shares the outcomes, not anything particular about topics, but it's yes, no, good thumbs up or no. So then the big thing, now it's time for the big finale, I would say. They will set up, ask your time for a full day interview session, like 5-6 interviews within a given day, 45 minutes each. Obviously, due to COVID, it was all remote. So they'll ask you for your availability. That's the best part. After hours, absolutely fine. So you have that set up, and you will have ample time between the interview results and the full day interviews. The reason for that is what happens between these two things is your recruiter, he will be reaching out to you. He'll be spending good 30 minutes, 45, 1 hour, explaining the whole process, what it takes, how you need to prepare, what are the resources. And a lot of people are unaware of this. Even I was unaware of this when I read it online. I thought it was just thing that used to happen when Google was small. No, it wasn't the case. So recruiters do spend a lot of time with you. The reason is they are having 5 6 different resources invest time in you, taking away time from their day work or after hours, and they're investing time to interview you. Okay, it's like they really want to onboard you, so they want to see you succeed. So that's a very positive sign. Obviously, I have not seen any other organization do it. So that was the best part. They'll walk you through everything, the end-to-end process, and they'll let you tell you that this is time consuming. Take one step at a time. First thing, the big day, 5 day, 6 day interview. Get past that, and then we'll talk about the rest. So they'll prepare you. They'll share video links, and obviously, I work for YouTube vertical within Google. So a lot of YouTube, they'll share the links, obviously, and you can do it personally as well. You will find a lot of Googlers talking about the interview process, so they'll talk. So that's the best resource. Search YouTube. I'm just marketing my team here. So
Can
after
we get
that,
some link from you? Maybe I will put in the description below. Maybe if I can get some
absolutely,
links.
I can
Yeah,
share. Yeah.
I
So
will, guys. I will put that links over there. Yeah.
yeah. And one other thing I forgot to mention is that when the recruiter is talking to you for the 30 45 minutes, you don't have to take notes because he'll be sending you a very very detailed note. So that's the best part. You can just focus on what he's talking about and gather it. So that's that. And then the big day arrives, 5 interviews. The best part, first couple of minutes at least, this is personally, it can be different for different folks, but they make you feel very comfortable. Okay, it's like easing questions so that they want to get the best out of you. It's not like that I want to show how technical I am and show you. No, absolutely, that was not the case, and I've experienced some of that in the past with other employers, but Google was totally different. So 45 minutes normally, if you're applying for a tech role, it can be different. I can just talk about the technical program manager role. So technical program management, you have 1 or 2 technical rounds and 3 or 4 rounds of project management, your aptitude, all that good stuff, analytical skills, whatever. So when I say a couple, 1 or 2 of technical rounds, it can be coding, depending on which team you're ending up, or it can be just purely architectural. So I was I don't know, I've not coded much in my life, but I got interviewed on cloud technologies. So I recently got AWS certified just before this. So I was lucky enough, and I was able to get through. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing. So after the 5 interviews, okay, one other thing is at the end of each interview, you will be given 5 to 10 minutes to ask questions. That's the best part. So 45 minutes, it's not, they just don't cramp it with questions. They'll give you ample time to ask questions, and make sure you list out the questions. Questions are very important. First point, before you answer, take a 5, 10, 30-second pause to gather your thoughts. Give them the best possible answer. If you're not sure of something, you can ask clarifying questions, cool off your nerves, and then answer it. And you don't have to answer something you're not comfortable. Frankly speaking, they won't ask you what do you call mind twisters or whatever those questions are. It's not like, no, they are pretty standard questions, frankly speaking. So you should feel very comfortable. So that's that. They'll make you feel comfortable between the calls
Do
as
you
well.
remember anything, or maybe anything similar, if not exactly, you want to share, like, so that people will get an idea that, okay, that this is what, let's say you mentioned about cloud, right? So, okay, so in cloud, you might get this sort of questions, something like that. If you want to
So
share
cloud is
something.
a very vast subject, Sunand. I can't speak about the exact interview questions, though I remember,
Not
but I'll
exactly,
give you
but
an
maybe
example
little bit.
during my preparation, right? I'll give you an example. Especially with technical program management, sometimes you get to be very technical, obviously, and sometimes you just have to be on the management side of things, just program management. You are influencer without authority, they say, right? So in that case, what happens is they might ask a question. This is all from my preparation, just so you know, not exactly the questions. They might ask something like, hey, can you explain what is crypto to a 6-year-old and a 60-year-old? it's a very, and here's the thing, the best part is there is no right answer, no wrong answer. This is a very, seems like a tricky question, but take your time, try to simplify what Bitcoin is in your mind, crypto, whatever, and then try to come up with the best explanation. And then there can be back and forth, you can tell them whatever, right? It depends on a lot of different things. So it seems tough, but if you gather your thoughts and do your best, you will get through. And not every question will be like this. You're talking about program management, they would like to understand what's your program management style. So if somebody is not reporting to you, a lot of times nobody reports to you, right? You're working in a matrix organization, so but they would like to understand how you deal with issues for some reason, right? How do you deal with someone performing below their standard, right? So those are the kind of questions you can expect. You don't have to deal with any tricky questions, mind bogglers, nothing like that. So
lot of things people put on YouTube and Google, like, okay, this is Google question, this is like that, but that's not the case.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Here's the thing, right? Just because they're working for Google, they have nothing to prove. They want to see you succeed. That is the biggest thing. Okay. And you will understand that, you will get that vibe as soon as they jump on the call. Frankly speaking, they want to see you as a Googler at some point, and they'll be encouraging, they'll be guiding. Sometimes if you're off to a tangent, they'll be guiding you, catch those things. If you're just going on answering a question and not relevant to the topic, they'll try to guide you as well. So that's not at all a negative thing. So here's the thing, take one session at a time. If you did not perform to your potential in one of the sessions, here is the biggest tip: do not brood over it. Okay, just forget it, deliver your best in the next. First and foremost thing is, be very relaxed. If you think it's a very friendly conversation, it'll go very smoothly. If you're desperate and you don't want to miss out on Google opportunity, that's when things go, because you're thinking something else in your mind, not to crack the interview. Think it as a very friendly conversation over a cup of coffee. Okay, normally non-COVID times, I was told that when you go to interview at Google, one of the interviews will be over lunch. So it's that open. I was told, I have never experienced it. So treat that, cool your nerves, take time, take pause, and make sure you prepare questions, and try not to repeat the same question across all the 5 or 6 interviewers. Okay, prepare 2 3 questions for each interview, because you know more about your career than anybody else. Your LinkedIn profile or your profile is only a 1 or 2 pager. It's not a reflection of your true self. And so that's one. So again, after 5 interviews, they go back within 5 days for sure. 90% of the time you hear back from them, your recruiter, thumbs up, thumbs down. So if it's thumbs up, then the next thing is you are through the interview, the toughest part now. It's done, dusted. You feel proud. You're the next thing that happens is, there are 2 versions of it, Sunan. So what happened with COVID is, before COVID, after COVID, I'll say, or I don't know what the rule now is. Once you are through the interview, yes, everybody agrees that after the calibration sessions, everybody decides that yes, he is good for Google. So some of the characteristics I'll tell you to emphasize on, right? Show that you are willing to learn. Okay, in the interview process, the way you need to structure your answers. Show that you're willing to invest time in your career, because if you just want to code only in Java, it's not a big selling point. Understand? You want to expand your skill set. Show that you are ready to get your hands dirty by jumping in from your past experiences. Okay. So it shows that you're willing to take on whatever it takes to succeed. You want to succeed. You are eager to learn. You want to see eventually. Talk as if you want to end up as a CEO one day. Everybody wants to shoot for this moon, right? Shoot. So that's what it needs to be. So those are the things that you have to keep in mind. But now that the big thing is over, you hear back after 5 days, thumbs up, you're good to go. Now the thing that happens is your file, whatever your interview result, your questions, answer, how you did, what did the interview key in your, because they'll be taking notes as well, likewise. So make sure that you use pen and paper most of the time. Do not ignore that part, and don't think that not having eye contact with the interview is a bad thing, because when you're jotting down notes, you can, but when you're answering a question, you will have that eye contact. Unfortunately, we are in this situation, we are staring at the screen. But anyway, after this, your file is sent to something called a hiring committee within Google. And I don't know who they are. They are experts in the field. They get to see, they don't know, I don't know if they see your name or whatever, because all they get to see is the questions answered, how you did, what was your rating, all that good stuff. If the hiring committee says yes, he's good to go, sometimes they can come back. So there are three possibilities I have learned from my research. They can say, you know what, I don't think it's a good fit. So sometimes good fit. Sometimes they say, you know what, I think we need more information to make a decision. Can you ask him for additional interviews, her, him or her, whatever, additional interviews? That can be the case. So three possibilities. Obviously, those are the only possibilities. If they say yes, that's good. Your recruiter comes back, says that yes, hiring committee is awesome, good to go. One more step to knock off. Then the next thing that needs to happen is, normally Google hires for a role, not a team. So for instance, you're working for XYZ company, they have a .com domain and they want an agile scrum master. They'll interview somebody and put them into that role. But Google is such a vast company, they have so many openings. What happens is they are interviewing you for a technical program manager. They're not talking about cloud technical program manager, .com domain. No, technical program manager, if I get shifted into a new project tomorrow, I should be able to navigate my way out. That's the whole point, right? So what happens here is a lot of hiring is going on at Google, and these recruiters who are owning your file, they look at these profiles and they share your profile with hiring managers. They say, hey, I've interviewed XYZ candidate, he got through everything, hiring committee gave thumbs up, he's ready to onboard, would you like to have a quick chat? If the hiring manager thinks you will be a good fit, they'll set up a 30-minute call. Please note, this is not an interview. This is an opportunity for you to talk to the team, learn more about the team, just a 30-minute call, so that you learn more about the team, and it's an opportunity for you to say no at times. Okay, so as a hiring manager, I talk to the candidate and I feel he's good. But based on the conversation, you think that, hey, this is not what I want to do. You want more on the machine learning side of things, for instance. You might as well say no, absolutely. So it's a two-way lane again. So remember that. But if the hiring manager comes back and says, hey, we love to have someone on board, then that's the best news you can hear, I guess. The recruiter comes back and says, hi, HC gave a approval. You have a team match. This is called team matching. It's done now. Now it's the big part. They'll talk about all the good stuff now, the perks, everything. And once everything is an agreement, then they'll send out an official offer letter. And that's that. So it's a long process. And I'll share. So one twist, as I said, right, after the interview, it goes to the hiring committee and then the team matching. But sometimes in COVID, this happened to me personally. I was done with the interviews. Then they had to do a team matching for me. Okay. Once the team matching was done, then they had to send my file to hiring committee saying that, hey, a team is interested in this guy. Here is the file. That increases the chances of approval. That's what I was told. And I don't know, they can change it. It's up to the, I don't know, the hiring HR policies, but this is the second version that happens. But eventually you have to get through all these steps. Hiring committee, team matching, hiring committee, doesn't matter. You get through that, then your offer letter is sent to you, you sign it, you have a start date, and there you go. You're a Googler now. So one last piece before I wrap up. What happens is when you get through interview, if your interview, the full day interview is a thumbs up, the results are good for next 12 months. So what happens is throughout the 12 months, if a recruiter is managing your file, he will be soliciting, or he'll be sharing your profile with all the hiring members. That's the worst part I'm talking about. So if you interview this June, you have the opportunity until next June, but you don't want to, obviously, after getting through the biggest hurdle, you want to be a Noogler as soon as possible. But I've seen people wait 6 months, 8 months in some cases. So even personally, I had to wait 2.5, 3 months for the team matching to get through. So one thing is patience. It's a very long process, but you have to be patient. And I'll tell you, when you see the final offer letter, it's worth the wait, or maybe it's more than that, frankly speaking.
Okay. Good, you have touched this point. It's very important, and you mentioned about perks. So I'm not going to ask you anything specific numbers or anything like that. But if you want to share specifically on perk side, what sort of range maybe which you can look for? Again, it's varies from individual to individual, position to position. But maybe whatever the experience you have with your friends now, because you're already into Google. Um, and it's not only about the monetary benefit, but more than that, like what are the training programs or other perks, let's say vacation on holidays, something like that. We had a lot of things about inside the office of Google. So we have seen a lot of things, right? Maybe due to COVID, you did not get a chance to go into Google, I mean, in office as such, but if you can just share some of the perks so that our viewers will be excited a little bit more about Karthik.
Yeah. So let me start with the biggest thing. Obviously, everybody wants to make money at the end of the day. So I'll give you a real life example, just so it'll answer your question, what it is like. So when I joined Google, one of the guys reached out to me on LinkedIn, and he said, "Hey, I've been reached out, but I've been applying for jobs and stuff, and I'm applying for TPM role. This is how much I'm making. Do you think they'll make whatever that is?" I only told him one thing, and this was the very first step. He just got a recruiter call. XYZ. First, get through everything. Okay, when you sign the dotted line, you don't even ask negotiate. Okay, they will pay you the best, because Google is very competitive, right? They don't want to lowball you, obviously. And eventually he joined the company June of this year, and I asked him, do you have to worry about the money? He said, absolutely not. So that's how it is. They are very honest, very open. And the good thing is, you can search online. Google encourages people to share their salaries. Of course, you don't have to share your name, everything, but your level, all that good stuff. So they encourage open transparency. It's not like somebody TPM level XYZ makes 100K and somebody in the same level makes 600K. It's not like that. It can be little tweaky based on the negotiations and stuff, but it'll be in the same range. So you that answers your question, I guess. Monetary wise, that's the last thing you need to worry about. Okay. And other perks, obviously Google pays you sometimes. It depends on the role again. Okay, don't quote me on this, but joining bonus, you get stocks, RSUs as you call it, GSUs, RSUs, whatever you want to call it. When you join, they vest over 4 years period, and every year you have specific bonus targets. Obviously, depends on how Google does, and then depending on the role, demographics, all that good stuff, you have refreshers, what you call, which is more RSU stocks. And yeah, that's the financial part. I don't want to get into, but absolutely it'll be on par, it'll meet or beat the market range. Okay, so that's one. Health benefits, absolutely, I love it. They have a lot of different options, and yeah, during COVID, they have been very cognizant of the fact that we have parents, so they're very good. Even for new parents, it's amazing. It's not 1 or 2 weeks, it's few months. You can stay home. What else? Standard 3 weeks vacation. Obviously, they have holidays and stuff. They have see, this quarter we have couple of refresher holidays. We call it Sundar days because Sundar issued them. So it's last Friday, for instance, it was like a reboot, low take off and refresh. So that was that. What else? Education. That's one of the biggest thing. Google has so many what do you call, venues to expand your skill sets. Internally, we have so many things. Obviously, Google, you can search. Internally, we have our own search. We have a lot of stuff there. They reimburse you for any educational stuff. Not only that, even if you want to spend part of that money to do anything, like you want to learn swimming or cooking, culinary, they'll reimburse 1/3 of that, like that, something like that. So they have, it's pretty amazing. Like we just recent. So yeah, I mean, you have ample resources for from educational standpoint, and they want to encourage. They want, it's kind of mandatory. You need to spend. And when you join Google as a Googler, you have sessions every month. First couple of weeks you'll take a lot of trainings, and even after the first month you will get notified that you need to finish some of the courses. That's the best part. So yeah, that's that. And what other benefits? Okay, I have heard about this, have not experienced it. Obviously Google offices, the best. They have different sorts of food. I'm a foodie. Good that I'm not in office because I'll be putting on more weight. But yeah, they have amazing places. They have heard about the sleeping bins or sleeping pods, they call it. It's like voice proof within the office if you want to take a break and relax. They give you massage points at the end of the day. They have laundry days. When you're busy, you can just take your, they have on-site gyms, obviously, personal training, a lot of good stuff. I can't speak enough for the on-site.
Karthik, you have to promise us one thing, and I just want this obviously. Whenever you will go to office, whenever you have to make at least a 10 minutes video for us. Whatever things you have mentioned about, we are super excited to at least we can watch all those things. We have seen in somewhere here and there in bits and pieces. But if you got a chance, and if it's allowed by your, I'm sure it will
Yeah,
allowed by your company. So you just take a round like, okay, I'm just going to share, some of my things in office, whatever you guys are doing, and something like that. That will be super fun for all of us to watch it, Karthik. That's a minimum I
absolutely.
can expect from.
Absolutely, Sundar. I can't wait to be in office. I can't wait to lay my hands on the badge because I don't have a badge yet. I am
Oh,
super
okay,
excited. So
okay, 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 Karthik. I think you have covered a lot of things. But if you have like 5-10 more minutes, I just want to wrap up with a couple of more small questions, Karthik. And if you know stuff, you can always share with us. So now you have mentioned about from a experience point of view, that okay, you are a technical manager, you already have so much experience with us, right? But what about, let's say, someone who is into, let's say, non-technical role, or someone who is pretty fresher? So you have any seen those kind of, maybe because you have, it's a journey, right, from you from last, I would say, 2 years now, not even 1 year. You might have seen a lot of other youngsters also joining Google, or someone who is not into that much technical role. Is it like that kind of things you might have experienced, and you want to share something that, okay, let's say if I'm a fresher, so what should I can expect? Let's say I just having 1 year or 2 years of experience. So what should I focus? Okay, coding, algorithm, or maybe data structure. I heard a lot of things about this. So do you suggest that, okay, as a fresher, or as a 1 or 2 years of experience, or someone like that, or if I'm a non-technical, is it there any possibility that I can get into a Google? What is your take on that?
absolutely. So great question, and that is one of the questions that always haunted me before joining Google, because I thought you have to be hardcore developer, all that good stuff, and that's a misconception. The reason for that is there are technical program managers, there are program managers, and nothing to take away. Here's the thing, best part. Uh, at times, even though you're a technical program manager, you might not work on technical stuff because of so many things, right? Maybe you're the lone TPM in your group, or you're not getting enough time to dwell deep into the technologies and stuff. But I have seen program managers, there are program managers, but eventually you're working on a technical project. So over a period of time, definitely you will get the nuances, you will get used to the jargon and stuff. But I have seen as many program managers as TPMs. The big difference is technical versus non-technical. And some of the stories I've heard is in order to get into Google, you need to hold a degree from one of the Ivy League colleges, all that good stuff. It's not the case. Google is all about solving problems. There are not too many values with Google. It's very simple: respect each other, okay, value the opportunity, value the user, end user, obviously, and everything will fall in place. So that's their motto. They are not trying to come up with hundreds and hundreds of pages. It's very, very simple: respect the user, respect the opportunity, respect your colleagues. That's about it. Everything falls in place. So I have seen people who have started as support staff and transformed into program managers with their interest. And seen people who have been there for like years now. That's so that inspires me, frankly speak. So it's not like technology will be your what do you call blockage between you and Google. Absolutely not. So but do not take technology away, because these days every company, for instance, even Bank of America, yesterday they were watching a article, reading an article, they said they are a technology company, right? Like Tesla is not a car company anymore, it's a technology company. So do not take the technology part away. One bit one learning I can share is, here's the thing: you are living you're lucky to live in this area of social media, right? And especially YouTube, for instance. I don't like to watch long hours, but spend time. If you're driving somewhere, say for instance, you're going out for a walk, okay? Learn something. Say, what is cloud? Okay, what is public cloud, for instance? What is community cloud, for instance? You will get videos that range from 4 minutes to 4 hours. Spend 4 minutes video, at least you'll get a high level understanding, because we understand basic English. We are at least 1 2 years of experience, because you want to get into computer science technology firm means you understand the jargon. So that will give you an overview and you build on that. So keep listening to these short videos. That will help you a great deal. And get out of that nuance that, hey, technology without a hardcore development experience, you won't be able to get into Google. Absolutely not. Because this is my personal opinion, it's not the answer that makes you great, it's the question that makes you great. And to ask a question, you don't have to be technical. See, think about it. Elon Musk thought about, or whoever that is, thought about electric cars, right? He did not solve. He was not a scientist, or he built it up ground up. He asked a question: why only gas cars? He came up with that question. Is what we are seeing Tesla as, right? So on those lines, it's the question that is important. And when you talk about a question, we are not talking about, hey, uh, how do you parse this or not. We are talking about solving a problem. If you ask the right question, if you have the aptitude to solve world problem, then I think you will do great. You'll go great guns, and you will reach great heights. So I always think that question should push you forward. So it's not the technology. Technology is the medium to solve that. But where is that problem arising from with that question? So technology has nothing to do with the very first step, I think. But it's the solution to everything, obviously, at the end. Hope I
And
answered your question. I
yes, yes,
don't.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. And you have also seen little youngster in terms of coming out of college. So is it like the process is similar to them, or is it a little bit different in terms of questions, in terms of process, or everything is pretty standard in Google?
No, frankly, I don't know much about that, but I know that Google do encourage or hire college students, freshers, not fresh out of college, even in the third, fourth year of college, they'll pick them up for internship and stuff. That
Okay.
shows a great deal, because they're not trying to go to MIT or all that stuff. It's
Mhm.
open to everybody if you're competent.
Mhm.
Oh, the other thing is they don't care about. This is my again personal thought. It's not about the degree you carry. It's about the knowledge, appetite for learning, solving problems that takes you places. You don't have to have a computer science degree. If you look at Google, it has been introducing a lot of certifications as well. And if you want to be in project management or cloud, whatever, if you can get a couple of those certification that shows that, hey, you're already working used to their product, that will get you one step closer to your dream. So it doesn't matter what you have done in the past, which school you went to, all that good stuff. What matters is where do you want to get to, and where are you right now? What's your appetite for learning and exploring? So
Okay, absolutely. And yeah, that's one saying, that it's your attitude which sets your altitude, not your aptitude. So I
yeah.
think that's what it's we can summarize like that. Okay. Okay, Karthik, I am sure like you have given a lot of time. It's almost 1 hour now. And it's a great learning. Honestly, I'm telling Karthik, whoever is going to watch this session, there are a lot of misconceptions, even with me also, honestly, I'm telling you. But with this session, I mean, this is pretty much clear to me that, okay, anyone can join Google. It's not a big deal. When I say big deal, in terms of if you have a very persistent in terms of whatever you are doing, do it with your heart, with your soul. Understand your things. Be very clear about your thought process and all those things, and never hesitate to ask why. That's
Yeah.
most important thing. Always ask why. Whether in any interviews, irrespective of Google or anything, I have seen, as you mentioned, that people when they just start, they just started for non-stop for half an hour, 1 hour.
Yeah.
They're not giving opportunity to me, or I mean, when I say me, means like as an interviewer, to take a pause. All those points, I would say, fits everywhere. It's not only Google. If you are actually any company, give that equal opportunity. There are a lot of learning which I have personally no, but now with you, it's like okay, now okay, my learning, my understanding is exactly the same what you have mentioned. So it's a great learning for me as an individual, and I'm sure a lot of people who is going to watch this definitely going to learn a lot of things, Karthik. So I hope like we will maybe some more time we will catch up maybe on different topics, and maybe you have promised us whenever you will go to Google, you will share one 10 to 15 minutes video with us, right, Karthik?
Absolutely, Sunil. And one thing I would like to add is here's the thing, right? I'll stress this point. Your LinkedIn profile, okay, is your gateway. Make sure that is the first thing that attracts people. That is the first step. Make Get as many clicks as possible. And how do you get clicks? With keywords. Get some certification under your belt, and not much, but at least spend 20-30 minutes every day learning about a topic. Okay, you have Udemy, $10 you can get a course. That's how I got my AWS certification, $10, and I got it. Think about it. Yeah, I'm not spending thousands. Self learning, that's the best part. 30 minutes, not more than that. Worst thing that can happen is you apply for a role, you get interviewed, you get rejected. What happened out of this? You learn something out of it. It's not going to go down the drain. See, you know what a failure is? Failure is not about success, it's about not trying. If you're not trying, you are a failure. If you are failing, that means you are doing something. Keep doing that, and success will eventually come, because it's just a different format for a failure. That's it. So hope
Great,
that
great
helps.
thought.
And last thing, keep reaching out to people, because one thing I do on
Absolutely.
my LinkedIn is I get connections, I get questions. Obviously a lot of questions are like pretty straightforward. Can you refer me to a role in Google, or do this, do that? I take the time to respond back and explain that, hey, this is how it works. You need to do this, you need to do this. And if they are willing to, I'll jump on a call and explain, because somebody did that to me in the past. I'm just passing it along. And don't hesitate to reach out on LinkedIn, make connections. That's not a bad thing. Worst case that's going to happen is the other person is not going to add you. It's not going to impact you anyway, but if they add you, you'll get to learn their shares, how they, what kind of articles. Your circle is expanding, and when you
Absolutely.
got a question, they'll be willing to jump in eventually. It's not that they're trying to ignore you. Some people are busy. Just expand your LinkedIn community, whatever. So do keep doing
Absolutely.
that. Watch short videos and learn something new every day. Yeah, that's all I got.
Thanks all, Karthik. I think this 1 hour is equivalent to 5 years or 10 years of experience. Honestly, I'm
Oh,
telling you.
absolutely.
No,
No.
no, I'm telling you honestly because you have summed up really good points. If someone is, I will go back and again read this session again because there are many key takeaways, guys. I'm telling you honestly, whatever he has shared, whatever is my small learning, I'm telling you honestly, he has shared a couple of very small points which people forget sometimes, you know. So that's really a good, Karthik, on your part that you have shared in detail whatever is your experience. I'm definitely pretty sure that people will learn out of it. So thanks a lot, Karthik, for your help, your time, and yeah,
Oh,
all the
absolutely.
best. All the best
Thank
is
you.
your one first year. I will sure that you will have many, many more years in Google, and maybe you will have a good progression over the period of time in Google. So Karthik, stay with Google now. Do not jump anywhere else.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you. It's my dream, my dad's dream. So I'm so glad. And thanks for having me. Absolutely loved it, because I want to share my experiences. It's not because I'm extraordinary or something. I want to inspire somebody. If I can do it, absolutely anybody can do it, because I know what I am deep inside. It's just that I'm slogging. Did not give up on my dream. I failed a lot of times, but eventually success knocked on my door. So if I can do it, absolutely anybody can do it. And Sunand, as promised, I will share you my first day at the office. I'll record, I'll send it to you. Apart from that, I'll also send you a couple of links, as we talked about, the resources I rely on. But frankly speaking, don't even have to look at my links. Just Google. You'll find the answers.
Everything is there in Google.
Yes.
Okay, so just Google it, Google. Okay.
Yes.
Hey, thanks a lot, Karthik. It's a really a wonderful session. I am telling you, Karthik, honestly. So thanks a lot, Karthik.
Loved it, Sunand.
So yeah. So thank you guys. With this note, we are just ending this session. I hope you have learned something out of it. And please give a thumbs up for this session. And obviously, we will have few more sessions with Karthik in future if time will permit. So thanks everyone. Sign off.
Yeah. Take care, Sunand.
Bye. Bye.
Bye now.